Welcome back, Nick Landis Movie Review, episode number 136. This is I'm reviewing the fourth film of the MCU Phase 3 and overall released for the entire MCU. This is the... I think this is the 20th film they released. Yeah, 20th film. No, the 16th film they released for the MCU. This is Spider-Man Homecoming. Came out 2 years ago. Also, the thing with 2017 is, I forgot to mention this in my last video, it was a start of releasing 3 films a year. Yes, 3. This is the second one they released. The next one we'll talk about in the next video. Yep, this will see the return of a few characters from the MCU. Of course, Spider-Man's once again played by Tom Holland. Yes, you can see by the picture. Iron Man's in the movie, but he doesn't sound like Spider-Man gets the main villain in the movie. We also heard Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan. Aunt May, played by Marissa Tomei, and I think that's it. I think those are the only ones I can think of where it's actually the same people who portrayed in previous movies. Yes. Actually, I have heard of Pepper and a few other characters, but mostly Pepper's there for like a minor fan service thing. The last time she physically appeared in the movie was back in Iron Man 3 by the time of this movie. Now, the movie opens with the aftermath of New York, where you see Adrian Toomes. Yes, this is his first live action appearance, but here's the thing. This is not the first time they were going to consider making him a movie. Yes, there was a plan for a fourth Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie where it was going to feature the Vulture and the Black Cat as the daughter of the Vulture. Yeah, Felicia Hardy's featured as the Vulturess. Yep, but the Vulture is not the only character who makes his first live action appearance thanks to this film. He's the first of several Spider-Man villains. All the rest of them are pretty much supporting ones. Not the main villain per se. Toomes is the main villain. The other villains, the Terrible Tinkerer as his assistant. We also debut of Montana, Herman Schultz, aka the frickin' Shocker, and Matt Gargan, the Scorpion. Though he's not the Scorpion in the movie. Though in the case of Shocker, they actually have Montana did briefly take on the mantle of Shocker until Vulture killed him and said, "Hey, Schultz, you're the new Shocker." He's like, "Okay, fine." And Schultz is played by a black man. Okay? Herman Schultz is German. I'm not sure why they did this for, but they did. It's not really something to really complain about. And there's there's actually a big continuity error in this movie. Yeah, it says this movie takes place 8 years after Avengers, the very first Avengers film. Feige later admitted that was actually a continuity error. This movie takes place after the events of Captain America Civil War, despite the fact that it came out 1 year prior. I think it's about 6 months after Captain America Civil War, where they mention what happened in the Captain America Civil War film, where Spider-Man got drafted to Germany, and then he's basically on the bench for a while. Yep. Spider-Man returns basically to his normal life. Oh yeah, and also, you see by the picture, yes, it's the return of Avengers Tower for its final appearance in the MCU. Why in the world that this film will be the last to feature Avengers Tower? I actually don't have any idea. Now, they do mention of why, like, probably behind the scenes, I'm not really sure why they couldn't feature this building again, because it was featured in the first 2 Avenger films. I believe it was also featured in Iron Man 3 and Captain America Winter Soldier, and this film, 5 films this building appeared in. This film also has a return at the training facility, the Avengers training facility, made its first appearance in Age of Ultron. It also appeared in Captain America Civil War, Ant-Man, and this film is the 4th appearance of the training facility, which is the headquarters of the Avengers. Yeah, and basically Tony is transferring all of his stuff to that tower, to that place. The actual reason for this is never thoroughly explained why. And apparently the Vulture has been trying to steal Stark's stuff. Yeah, and here's the thing about the Vulture's equipment used. It's a combination of Chitauri and Stark tech, and he has a grudge against, well, Tony Stark. He's called, as a joke, he's called Old Man, which is a common thing, which is actually a recurring gag when it comes to the Vulture, because the Vulture is an old man. I get the reason why they do that, because, well, Michael Keaton is kind of old, but he's not that old per se. If you look at the Vulture he looks in comics, he looks like he's probably in his 80s. He's been like this since the 60s. Yeah, a character whose appearance has never changed. The only time they did change it was when they trying to give develop a device that allowed him to basically steal people's ages, make himself young. Mm-hmm. Though I love his suit in the movie, and I love the fact they gave him a freaking helmet, and I love the collar has the fluffy thing in it, which I was so happy they featured that because I think that's a nod to the comic. I love his freaking wings, and they're huge, they're humongous, like they're bigger than their comic counterpart. And the thing is, there's a good reason why Vulture wears a helmet. He flies at high speeds. That might actually kill somebody. So at least the helmet basically makes sense. As a combination of Chitauri tech, I get the reason why. Because that was technically salvaged and they kept. Now the thing is, the city had as mentioned, the city contracted them to basically salvage his tech. But then the Department of Damage Control said, like, nope, you're not taking this tech. We are. Bye. Yeah. Yeah, the Department of Damage Control, which they appear a couple times in the movie. Yeah, I'm not sure why they said to do that for. Now, basically, indirectly, Stark basically drove Toomes out of business. In the comics, well, as far as I can tell, Toomes did have a company in comics, but he hasn't had a company since his debut appearance. Yes, and he was not known for stealing tech. That's something he made up for the movie. Yep, that's pretty much what they did with the movie. And as for Spider-Man's suit, well, he keeps the suit that he got in Captain America Civil War, though that's actually taken away from half of the movie, and he goes back to his original costume he saw in sort of like archive footage in a way when they showed it in, I believe it was Captain America Civil War. Now, at one point in the movie, and my friend Tim pointed this out, though, because this scene is actually ripped directly from Ultimate Spider-Man. Spider-Man stops a bank robbery in Brooklyn, where it's three guys wearing masks with a Hulk, Captain America, and Thor. He says, hey, I know a couple of these guys. You're not one of them. Basically, I think one, and this was pointed out by Tivia, my friend Tivia. He actually pointed out, yeah, this is ripped from a scene from Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm not sure what issue it was, but it's something dope. They pulled this from that. Now, I know the movie takes a little bit of inspiration from the Ultimate Spider-Man, along with the 616. Basically, it's a combination of both, which that's actually pretty good for the most part, because there are people who are fans of the 616 Spider-Man, like I am, and people who are fans of the Ultimate Spider-Man. So mingling them together is a fantastic choice. There's also, we have the live-action debut Aaron Davis, a.k.a. the Prowler, also known as the Burglar. No, it's not the same person who killed Ben Parker. Yeah, and also for some strange reason, this is something that I kind of forgot to mention when Spider-Man showed up in Civil War. Why the heck is he and May living in an apartment? Now, in the comics, these two had a freaking house when Peter was in high school. Yes, and as far as I can tell, when she last showed up, she still had this house in Queens. Why in the world they live in this apartment? I have no idea. The movie itself never explains it at all. We also see the first live-action view of Liz Allen. And here's kind of the thing about this character. She is basically a biracial character because her father is revealed to be Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture. Yeah. This is actually... Now, basically, the way they made Liz Allen is that they kind of combined it for two completely different characters. But at least what they do in the movie is actually quite interesting. And the thing with Toomes is, he's not a terrible person. He just wants to get his employees to have their families getting fed, because he basically is ticked off at Stark. Stark, of course, well, in case you're wondering, aside from this promotion of them flying together, does Stark do any fighting in the movie? No, he doesn't. He does nothing. He shows up for a few scenes. He's first seen like going overseas. I think he's in India where you got good Wi-Fi talking to Spider-Man after he saved him from the first time he met the Vulture, where he's basically autopiloting the Iron Man suit, and the second time was actually when Spider-Man was basically trying to save a Staten Island ferry from. Now he was doing the best he could with basically keeping that ship afloat. Lucky enough, Stark came in and basically fixed it. Yeah, but apparently Stark didn't like what he was doing, so he took away the suit he had, and he mentioned, "Oh yeah, I don't have any other clothes." And Stark's like, "Yeah, okay, I can fix that. That's no problem." And of course, buys him clothes basically at the Statue of Liberty. Yep. And he was trying to do his best to figure out exactly what Toomes was up to, and eventually he does. I don't particularly like how there's a little bit of Spider-Man. I don't like how he's written here. Now, where apparently he basically tries to find out stuff and he tries to tell Tony or Happy about it. He frequently contacts Happy if there's any missions for him. Yeah, I don't get why Happy's basically blowing him off half the time. Luckily, he's a lot more nicer in the next movie. Yep. Yeah, Spider-Man ends up fighting the Vulture several times in the movie. At one point, the FBI get involved. It turns out they were contacted by Tony Stark. Yep. But luckily enough, despite the fact that Spider-Man accidentally almost caused a Staten Island ferry to sink, technically nobody got killed. Now, I should at least think that Tony should be proud of him for basically making sure nobody died. Yeah. But I do get kind of chastised for actually kind of accident causing this in the first place. But at least he basically delayed it long enough for him to get there. Yeah. And eventually they do one last ship, and they do steal one last thing. Basically, was the last thing they got from the Avengers Tower. And, well, they actually have a pretty big brawl. Now, apparently, Vulture at one point finds out Peter Parker is Spider-Man in the movie, which is something he does not do in the comics at all. He, as far as I can tell, Vulture has never found out that he was Spider-Man. I would say the first villain I found was the Green. There was about three major villains in the comics who basically figure out that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and that's Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, Doctor Octopus, and Mysterio. Yeah, these three are the only people I can think of who actually found out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. As far as I can tell, nobody else does. No other major villain in the comics ever found out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. As for people who know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, in the MCU, I'd say about 2-3 people know. What happened to this movie? Well, prior to this movie coming out, I'd say maybe 2 people knew that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and that is Tony and Happy. That's pretty much it. In the movie, we get used to Ned Lads. The thing about this character is he's basically based on Kenny Kong from the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, where he's the overweight best friend of Peter Parker in the movie. He's based upon that character anyways. Now, the name Ned Lads comes from another character who's a photographer. He's actually thin, and at one point he was accused of being one of the Hobgoblins. Yeah, he was one of the people who was actually accused of being a Hobgoblin, and possibly being the main one. Which, that was later be untrue thanks to the Hobgoblin Lives miniseries done by the creator of the Hobgoblin, Roger Stern. Betty Brant's in the movie, but she's just basically here for one scene. This is technically the second time she appears in live action. The first time was in the Sam Raimi films, where she's an older woman, and no, she does not attempt to basically date Peter Parker. As a matter of fact, not near this one, nor the first one, ever date Peter. This happens one cartoon series, this particular Spider-Man, where Peter tries to date Betty Brant, but as far as I can tell, no. Neither of the 2 live-action versions of Betty Brant ever dated Peter. And of course, you have this character Michelle Jones, whose nickname is later to be imitated in the movie. No, this is not Mary Jane Watson. This is a completely different character. Yep. Eventually, at the end of the movie, Spider-Man does see the Vulture. Hey, I found the Vulture guy for you. And apparently, Stark is happy the fact he saved his stuff. So it makes a sort of full-fledged Avenger, gives him a suit that would actually become his suit when he popped up Infinity War, Endgame, and Far From Home. Yeah, it's this all-red suit with a big spider and gold outline. And basically, it's basically kind of like Spider. It's like the Spider suit Mark III. Because Mark 1 was the suit, that was the homemade suit. And this is Mark II when he was in the movie. Yeah. This movie overall, and I should point out though, unlike in the case of Sam Raimi films, I'm glad the fact that I will talk about this when I talk about the Mark Webb films. Yeah, he actually makes his own web shooters. Yep. And I love the fact that they have Ned become like the guy in the chair. So basically, he kind of becomes the third person who knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. As far as I can tell at this point, and of course by the end of the movie, it's figured out though that May finds out that Peter is Spider-Man. This has actually happened once in the comic books. Yeah, this happened after they had an issue for Amazing Spider-Man where he dealt with the events of 9/11, where it happened right in front of him. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. They actually had issue Amazing Spider-Man issue 36 in the second volume, where actually had him witness the jets hitting the Twin Towers and collapsing right in front of him. Yeah, that was J.M. Meso did that. And it was after the events of that's when May found out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. After the whole One More Day crap happened, she's still not found it. In the alternate verse, she does know. She found out a little bit later, and she come to accept the fact that Peter is Spider-Man. In the case of currently, May does not know Peter is Spider-Man at all. I don't know why, but at least she's treated with a heck of a lot more respect than she was originally. Like, over the years, she was like this senile old lady. Now she's treated with a lot more respect and a little more authority because, well, she's really like, well, an actual proper person instead of just like, oh, my heart, or whatever basically old ladies to basically depict as. I like the fact they actually give her basically sass in the current comics. In the movie, Melissa told me, well, of course, it was this thing where they kept making May Parker like really young. Marissa Tomei is hot, really hot. Oh, and I should point out, I talked to my aunt about this, that Peter does not call May Parker Aunt May. Yeah, because I'm so used to him calling that in the comic books. Heck, even the previous two, even all the cartoons I've seen, he calls her that. Heck, even the Sam Raimi and Mark Webb films, he called her that too. Now, in case you're wondering, do they ever mention about what happened with Ben Parker? They mention he died at some point. They mention in Civil War he died. As for how he died, they don't bring it up at all. That might be something they explore in the third Spider-Man movie. Like, you probably think, does Far From Home explore that? Nope, it explores what happened with Spider-Man after Endgame. Yep. But this film overall is great. I love it. And love the fact that Spider-Man's eyes can move. Yep. This movie is just pure fun, what it is. And the guy who directed this film, John Watts, yeah, a new guy. And one of the guys who wrote the script for the film, yeah, I think it was him, yeah. Yeah, he wrote this film, he did this film and the following film as well, which is quite interesting. There was one guy, here he is, John Francis Daly. Now, I'm familiar with this guy, he's one of the screenwriters movie. He actually, believe it or not, worked on Bones. Yeah, he worked in the series Bones until for most of the series until his character got killed off by a recurring villain of the series. Yeah, he died, and then like after his death, it was found out that his on and off girlfriend got pregnant and gave birth to a boy. Yeah, but not much happened with her after that. She was kind of a ditzy girl, anyways. Yep. But in the case of how they wrote in this movie, yeah, it's really good. Now, of course, the same people will also write the remake / reimagining for National Lampoon's Vacation. Yep, same people. But this film is really good. Give this film a 9 out of 10. Really good. In the case of Tinker, I'm happy with what they did with him in the movie. Now, Matt Gorgon, well, they haven't get damaged, but he never comes. There's two problems I have with Matt Gorgon movie. I mean, I'm happy the fact he doesn't come Scorpion right away, but why isn't he a PI, like in the comics? Seriously, why is he just this random mercenary who just had to be hired by Adrian Toomes or some buyer? I'm like, really? That's what they do with Matt Gorgon. The Scorpion. Like, I don't have a really big problem with the fact that Herman Schultz does not put on the Shocker costume. Maybe eventually he will, but I get that I love the fact that now in the case of his gauntlets, he uses a movie where he uses shock stuff. They kind of look like the way they do from the Ultimate comics, which is kind of weird. I'm not sure what they did that for, but they do, and they give him like one gauntlet for some reason. Yeah. Now they also have now the whole thing with Aaron Davis when he helped the movie. Yeah, this is basically Uncle Miles Morales, and apparently this guy had auditioned to be Spider back in 2010. And apparently when John Watts was like, "Can I bring this guy on board?" Like Marvel's Feige's like, "Sure, whatever." And of course he's a brief role, and he also has ice cream. Is also a thing of yeah, yes, ice cream is gonna melt. It's like you're bad you did bad things. Yeah, he's perfectly fine. Looks like a Spider doesn't kill him. There's also a thing they mention here, like has him over so like instant kill, which he does use in Endgame, which I'll talk about that when I get to Endgame. Yep. So that's it for this particular review. My next review, I'm talking about the third Thor film, Thor Ragnarok. Yep. I'll talk about this film in my next review. Okay. Do see you there. Bye.